Hey guys, so forewarning, the video that I created that I spent like a long time putting together is been copyrighted to hell. And once you get copyrighted, that's a wrap. So I had to take it down and think of ways of how to put the video up so people could enjoy my commentary on the movie. And it's pretty much going to be of my favorite shot of the film, just in picture, instead of any GIFs or footages or anything like that to avoid copyright. Like, I didn't think I would be getting copywritten for 1976's Carrie almost 50 years later, but apparently I am. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy and subscribe and like for more, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, y'all. So, I've been working on this video for a while. I'm really excited to do it. This video is a little special to me because this is literally one of my favorite movies to come out of the 70s. And I really like this movie. And it's Stephen King's first masterpiece and first book, Carrie. And I really enjoyed this movie. I know it's not like perfect or it's not the best horror film out there. I don't even really completely consider it a horror film, more like a suspense thriller type thing. But it's labeled a horror movie. So when we go into this film, I really want people to know this is a very sad movie in hindsight. And yeah, horror movies have like sad things like people getting killed and stuff like that, but it's different. Carrie White is literally just a normal everyday girl until she gets her period at like 17 late. And after she has her period, she discovers she has these telekinetic powers. Now, the thing I do want to say I enjoy about this is that the movie displays she's not the only person, it's just her turn, right? Like, she is going through this, and apparently other people before her have gone through this. Now, when I was a kid, I saw Carrie for the first time on UPN Sunday afternoons. And the version I saw when I was a kid was very different from the version I saw as an adult because obviously there's censorship and those other things. So I did not realize there was a good amount of nudity in Carrie until I got older. And I rewatched the movie again recently, and I just remember, man, I remember why I really liked this movie. It was ballsy for 1976. It was bold. The storytelling didn't really pull any punches. There was so many moments where like you're just like, man, this is crazy. I mean, it also didn't help the fact that all of the actors who were playing teenagers were like in their late 20s, except for John Travolta. But that's neither here nor there, right? But Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie would be the main two cast members, I think, personally, which plays Carrie and Mrs. White respectively. And Piper Laurie had retired from the show business, I believe, for like 15 years. And they sent her the script, and she thought it was a comedy. So she played it as if it was a black comedy because she didn't understand what was going on. She thought her character was super over the top. And then there was Sissy Spacek, who wasn't even considered to be Carrie. But then when she auditioned, they really liked her. Now, the thing that I'm going to get a little bit into is the fact that they thought Sissy Spacek was too pretty, apparently. They thought she was too pretty, slim, redhead with blue eyes. And in the book, Carrie's supposed to be like, a little chubby with like acne. But Sissy Spacek had clear skin, so it's like, okay. But the thing that kills me was when I found out, apparently, Sigourney Weaver, Amy Irving, Nancy Allen, hell, even Jane Seymour at the time was considered to be Carrie. And I'm like, well, if Sissy Spacek's too pretty, what the hell are these for? Because these four are bomb as hell. So what are we going to do with this? But just certain things like that I think is pretty cool. Sissy Spacek was actually nominated for Carrie. Her and Piper Laurie were both nominated for Carrie, which I think is really cool. Like, hey, this is a horror suspense film, but two people were nominated for it, right? So that's pretty awesome. It just shows the dedication that the two actors had to the film, the performances, the dynamic. Brian De Palma's really good directing style to the film is great. But people should know that Carrie is like a really sad film. It's a tale of like someone really longing for love, and she just never could find it. It just seemed like in her mind, love was lost, but she really kept trying to find it. And dismissing some of her mother's abusive tactics. She looked at that as her mom loved her because she's the only person who was around with her. Let's pray together. Let's do this and a third. But the mom was also off her rocker, right? So that part's ignored by Carrie because she wants love. She wants to be loved by her mom. And Piper Laurie seems to play this very overzealous religious mother who has skeletons in her closet too, but is trying to prevent her daughter from doing these things, even going to the most abusive extensions. But she does love Carrie, right? Then you have characters like Chris, that's played by Nancy Allen, Sue, played by Amy Irving, some other characters in the film, and everyone does not hate Carrie White. Carrie White is a social outcast who was alienated by people she goes to school with. And she is very much hurt throughout the entire film. She doesn't believe she can be pretty, doesn't believe she can go to prom, doesn't believe a boy would like her. It is a movie that just really resonates with an audience of people because there are a lot of people out there who feel how Carrie feels. It is just something about that movie that it's now almost 50 years and it still feels real. It still feels, if anything, I feel like Carrie feels more real today than it did 50 years ago. And that's crazy to say that, right? But it really does feel more relevant now than it ever did before. It's just, when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, the movie really is just leading up to the last half hour. So a bunch of stuff in between, you kind of need to look at some details to see, okay, this is this, this is that. Okay, cool. But it's the last half hour that is like pure classic cinema gold. And, excuse me, you have a lot going on with the fact that, in the beginning, the girls are laughing at Carrie because she's getting her period late, right? She's getting her period late, her powers activating. Amy Irving and all the girls are laughing. Then you find out Amy Irving, Sue, really did feel bad. So she actually asks the guy she's supposed to go to prom with to take Carrie to prom. Now, the gym teacher, who's one of the best teachers in cinema history, in my opinion, does a great job of, checking the hell out of all the girls and being like, y'all were wrong for that. And anybody who feels like they aren't ain't going to prom. So she got all them in check, pretty much, except for Chris, who was an evil person. The issue is that the principal even sucks. And I forgot, every time I watch an old horror movie, I'm like, I forgot. People in horror movies are terrible people. So when you actually do get a solid individual, you got to be like, what that bitch about to do? But even the principal's kind of trash, just people around her. So the last half hour, because like everything after that, the big opening scene with all the girls in the shower and all that stuff, and Carrie's first period, the rest of the movie is just pretty much leading up to prom. It's just a slow steps to get to the big climax. So when we get to the prom scene, which is literally one of the coolest things ever, even if it still looks like it's the 70s, I love that scene so much. The very frustrating, tense build up to that bucket falling onto Carrie's head. It is still one of the scenes where you're just like, she's about to lose her shit. And she does. She absolutely does. And unfortunately, people who weren't in on it ended up dying. But the people who were in on it did end up dying. And one thing that's different from the book is the teacher that was, cared about her and liked her ended up dying. In the book, the teacher survives. And she goes out rough. It's like, damn, she wiped the whole entire floor of a lot of them. Now, my favorite shot is in the prom scene when she like ties up the principal to the backdrop and sets it on fire with the electricity, and it just sparks on fire, and it just shows her that is straight up from someone's painting. It's a painting from like 1861, I think, or maybe a little sooner than that. But it's a famous shot from a famous painting from a famous artist. So it's a famous shot, period. And I was like, yo, the way Brian De Palma set that up is wild, bro. It is wild. It is so wild. So that's something that's just like that whole prom sequence. Like it's so nice because honestly, if you ask me, I think The guy that takes her to prom, I honestly think he genuinely liked her. Like, I always kind of looked at that and I was like, I think he might have actually liked Carrie. I mean, they do actually kiss. So, I mean, that's a good sign, right? Like, maybe he did actually like her. People have been speculating on the internet that for years. Um, but I do think he did like her. And then obviously the cool walk out of the door, slow shot of her coming out the door, closing it. Everyone's just in the gym burning alive, like basically what that was. And the walk home is underdone because apparently they didn't have the budget. So they did plan on shooting Carrie walking through the town, destroying police stations and stuff like that. But unfortunately, they didn't have the budget for it. But that scene does eventually make it into the 2013 remake, which I think is pretty good. I thought that was the one thing about that movie that was cool. I don't really like the remake too much. So, we get home, we get to the really great climax that is very different from the book as well, where the mom tries to kill Carrie. And that scene is scared the hell out of me when I was little. Because I always looked at my mom kind of sideways after that. Jones like, man, maybe I might not want to piss off mom too much. But it's just like she's like that shot of Piper Laurie where she walks down the stairs. She's like holding the knife and she moves it in that crucifix position. Gold. It is so gold. Um, Obviously, when Carrie like eventually defends herself and offs her mom, it's a shot straight out of a painting. Like this death is shot straight from some kind of painting. Like it just looks like something that would be in a museum. The candles are lit, the knives are just stuck in her, the blood's leaking out, and she's just strung up in the kitchen by some blades. Like that is a way to go out. And then obviously Carrie, pawning for love from her mother, freaks out because she killed her mom. The house starts to collapse and eventually burns down. Carrie dies, I guess, from the blood loss of the stab. I mean, I'm straight up pot. I just got her with that joint. So, and then flash forward to the next morning. Sue is dreaming about putting flowers on Carrie's grave, and then one of my favorite jump scares in movie history happens. It is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. And something that I think is great is that is actually Sissy Spacek's hand. So apparently she really just decided like I want to be under there and I want to be under the stuff and I want to reach up and grab her. So that's really Sissy Spacek doing that, grabbing her and freaking her out, which I think is really awesome. And if you pay attention close enough, you hear Priscilla Pointer call Sue Amy because they're mother and daughter in real life. So Sue's mother is played by Amy Irving's actual mom. So that's just something to think about. But it is funny. It is really funny to think. Like she accidentally calls her Amy during the whole hysterical nightmare freakout sequence. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the movie. So like Carrie, like yeah, there's not too much going on in the middle. It's the beginning 20 minutes and then the last half hour. All that stuff in the middle is like just leading up to prom, getting everything together, setting up the big thing, getting the pig's blood, and showing that Chris is evil as hell. I'm mad because I'm like, man, that's my shorty from RoboCop, bro. But like in this joint, she is terrible. like she is a terrible person in this joint, bro. Damn. Fall allergies. But it is just a rough situation. Like whenever I see Kara, I'm just like, man, she had one night of fun and it all went to hell because of just one, like two stupid people, and a bunch of people had to go under because of that. It's one of those realities of like, man, when you just push somebody so far, they snap. But yeah, I highly recommend people watch Carrie. Like movies like Carrie just don't get made anymore. And it's sad because we kind of need movies like Carrie now today more than ever. But without it being all preachy and all that crap, we just kind of needed to just be a movie with the symbolism of what's actually wrong. Because girls like Carrie is sad, man. She's a sweet girl. She just wanted to be loved. But the world kept pushing her in another way. She finally just loses it, and all hell breaks loose, unfortunately. But there's some standouts in this movie, man. Like the scene with the pig's blood is a little weird. I don't know who the hell like what Stephen King was on, but for this to be his first book and for this to be it got adapted pretty fast, and it was it was a big success. It was a big success for 1976. I mean, obviously Jaws was around, but Carrie was right there. It was also good, like I mentioned, Oscar noms. It made a good amount of money for its time. Apparently, Stephen King told Brian De Palma he liked the way he ended the movie better than the way he ended the book. Because in the book, Carrie collapses after she kills Chris in the car. She collapses, and Sue finds her and tells her, "Hey, I wasn't responsible for that. I'm sorry." And I don't remember if Carrie dies right there or not. I'm pretty sure she does. And Sue lets her know right before she goes, like, I had nothing to do with this, and I'm really sorry this happened, but I had nothing to do with it. I like both, but I do love the way the movie ends a lot more because, like, bruh, that last them little ending, that little jump scare is one of the best things in history. I love it so much. So, with all that being said, I really recommend Carrie. I think a lot of people should sit through the film. It's raw, it's real, it's uncut. If you go on HBO Max, you can watch it there. I own it on Blu-ray, but that's just me. As a cinema person, I like to own some stuff. It is what it is. But it is solid. If you can stomach the less restricted time and understand this movie was made in the 70s, not today, I think you'll understand where the aspects of this film was at the time. Because that was just the sign of the culture back then. So it's just what the movie is. It's great. I definitely recommend Carrie. I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I really like this movie. So, with that being said, you've been here with me. Make sure you smash that like button, comment, and subscribe for more.